fiction going in the future.
Game mechanics and gameplay. Let's stay in campaign for now.
Okay.
Because you guys have tweaked campaign as you guys know it pretty heavily. I mean, some of the things we can hit on right now, you've got branching storylines, choices in game that affect the outcome of the campaign.
The outcome of the campaign.
And the big one for me is the Strike Force stuff. I'm super excited.
It's kind of choice at kind of every level, right? So, campaign structure for Call of Duty. Typically been fairly linear, right? In terms of you play and then you go to the next mission. When you get to a Strike Force level, JSOC Command's going to lay out the situation in the world, the Cold War at the time. You got your hotspots. You'll be able to choose the mission that you want to go on with your Black Ops. You get dropped into that hotspot and you can play it. You either get mission success or failure. And normally in Call of Duty, if you fail, it's like you play again, right? But actually in this mission, if you fail, that's just part of the story, and it goes off on a different branch. And by the way, these other missions that you didn't choose, the fiction carries forward with that until, except if you want to go back and play, which is cool by us, because we would love nothing more than for you guys to want to go back and get more enjoyment out of the campaign. But it really is choice at every level. It is sandbox gameplay. I think we strive real hard to deliver that cinematic and intense experience. It's very, there's a lot of scripting that goes on. It's very crafted so that we can, what's Call of Duty going to do to kind of blow you away this time? And we have those experiences, but with Strike Force, it's all gameplay. It's pure gameplay, right? And it's at the very basic level. You can play it like you play every other Call of Duty level. You get dropped in the ground. You have your squad. It happens to have. It's in the future. Takes place in 2025. So you have all the technology and tools of the battlefield at the time are in the mission with you, and you can just play through it and take objectives. But that would only be scratching the surface, because you actually have the opportunity to move between different members of your squad. You can take over any of the equipment on the battlefield, whether it's the land ones or the air ones. You can fly and drive, and they have awesome weaponry. You can play it in Overwatch mode, which is a tactical view. You can set up your scenario in tactical view, then go back down and play it on the ground, and then you can move to be one of the, if you want to be a quad rotor who has, you have that heavy caliber on that. You have, we have this thing that we call the Claw, which is the Cognitive Land Assault Weapon, and this thing is insane. This is basically a tank. It's a quadped with really heavy machinery, and if you think about what's out there in the world in terms of robotics, it's not long before those things are no longer just mules and they've strapped some heavy machinery on it, right? You could play that entire mission from Overwatch mode if you really wanted to, or you can play it on the ground. You could do whatever you want, and it's not going to play the same way twice.
You could, in theory, play this like totally from an elevated perspective, as if it was an RTS game, and control your team and all the units in
Overwatch mode.
It's up to you. At any point, he was zooming down into, I want to be that soldier right now, and hack that node or whatever, or I'm going to hop into that unmanned drone. So I don't know. I think that's huge. It adds a lot of variety to the campaign.
Man, there's a ton of new gameplay mechanics going in, right? Between that, it's like you can fly, you can drive, you play, traditional COD style, tactical overview. That's one level. You can do all that stuff in, or you can just play it through traditionally. And the thing about it is when you play one of these levels, it actually affects the storyline, because it affects what's going on in the Cold War and on the geopolitical level, and it branches off, and that's really the case with actually there'll be these key decision points in the game, and they're going to come at you COD style, not like it's not going to come up and it's going to be like, hey, there's a choice A or B, which one do you want? It's going to be COD style. It's going to be intense. You're going to know there's a fork in the road, and it's happening, and you have to make a really hard decision, and some of these are going to be like really intense decisions, and the story will change as a result of that. It's unlikely that you and I will have the same ending in this game, and we'll be able to, I think it'll encourage people to want to go back and maybe make some different choices, and we're excited about that, because we're putting all kinds of new gameplay mechanics, sandbox gameplays we talked about in the Strike Force stuff, and that excites us that people might spend a little more time enjoying the campaign as well.
A little example of that during the demo, where you were faced with the choice of as simple as, do you want to rappel down and get into the shit, or do you want to snipe?
Yeah, no, that's
we
just a
picked
gameplay
snipe,
choice.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got to a place. You were on the 10 freeway, and all hell was breaking loose. And you could either provide cover with your sniper rifle, which, by the way, has an awesome optic that'll be coming out, I'm sure, in the next decade, where you'll have the ability to penetrate and see through materials. It has some technologies in there with an electronic charge that'll penetrate different materials, and you were able to provide cover for the troops on the ground. Now, if you wanted to play that differently, you would have just rappelled down and been on the ground and provided support on the ground level. It's very, that's a very subtle, simple choice event that we have going in that level. You could really see, though, with all the other gameplay modes, just how much variety. And even in that level that we showed you, it was like, a lot of weapons. There was driving, there was flying, there was all kinds of stuff. And it wasn't like you were in the cockpit just shooting at something. He was flying it and firing at it, and he was doing it. It was really intense. As a matter of fact, I thought he was going to just.
Yeah,
I thought he was going to eat it a couple of times. It was pretty intense.
Yeah, so we saw. Yeah, absolutely. There's the driving, the flying. There's been the hints of even some equestrian action
in the 80s in Afghanistan. That was a primary mode of transportation in combat. These special ops horse riders, and so they were very skilled at firing their weaponry and using those horses. And so, and what that is that's new gameplay. I mean, let's just boil all these things down, right? It's a COD game, and there's a ton of run and gun, but we've tried to break it up with all kinds of new game mechanics to keep it interesting and keep it fun. And we're really pushing the boundaries on not only gameplay in the campaign, but storytelling with the branching storylines, the fiction, and really just pretty much on every front, just trying to really, really, really push the boundaries. And I don't think it's what anyone's expecting for a Call of Duty game.